Good afternoon. It is Monday, October 29th, and welcome to the Panther News Network. I'm Jeray Beach.
I'm Jalen Spites.
And I'm Haley Spivey, and here's what's going on today.
A pilot was arrested in Florida for having a loaded gun in his carry-on bag. Brian McTims from Minnesota was arrested Friday at a Southwest Florida International Airport. According to the report, McTims has a permit to carry in Minnesota, but not in the state of Florida. TSA allows firearms, but only if they are unloaded, locked in a container as checked-in baggage. The 54-year-old man was released from jail on a $5,000 U.S. bond. His jail records did not show whether he had an attorney.
A student was taken into custody just this morning after he opened fire at a North Carolina high school, striking one of his classmates, police said. Police responded to a report of a shooting at Butler High School around 7:30 a.m., prompting a lockdown. A student who was not identified was shot and taken to the hospital with unknown injuries. Officers recovered the weapon used in the incident, officials said. The suspected shooter was not identified. This is believed to be an isolated incident, and the scene has now been secured by police, Matthews Police said in a statement on Facebook. It's unclear what led to the shooting. Officials for Charlotte-Mecklenburg School said law enforcement officers have secured the campus and are investigating the incident. Matthews is about 10 miles south of Charlotte.
2 people died Saturday after a major motorcycle crash in Texas City. The accident happened about 12:37 p.m. The Texas City Police Department said that 2008 black Nissan was attempting to turn into the Mall of Mainland parking lot when Harley Davidson motorcycle coiled into it. A 63-year-old man and a 55-year-old woman were on the motorcycle. Both were ejected from the bike upon impact. They later died at UTMB Galveston. 3 people were in the Nissan, all checked by MES for minor injuries. Police said alcohol does not seem to be a factor. The investigation is going on.
A brand new jet airliner carrying 189 passengers and crew crashed into the sea shortly after takeoff from Indonesia's capital on Monday, prompting a major effort in the region that soon turned from rescue to recovery when officials disclosed there were likely no survivors. The Lion Air Boeing 737-800 aircraft had just taken off from Jakarta when the pilot requested to return to the airport 3 minutes into the flight. Data for Lion's Air Flight 610 on aircraft tracking website FlightAware ends just a few minutes following takeoff when the plane at an altitude of only 5,200 feet. An air transport official, Novi Ryanto, told the Associated Press the flight was cleared to return to Jakarta after the pilot made a return to base request, but the flight plunged into the sea about 10 minutes later. After a massive search effort was launched, Operation Director Bambang Suryo Aji told reporters that officials are not expecting to find any survivors. Sky News reported, "My prediction is that nobody survived because the victims that we found, their bodies were no longer intact, and it's been hours, so it's likely 189 people have died," he said. There were 189 people on board the plane, including crew. Among them were 2 children and a baby. Lion Air Chief Executive Edward Strait said there was a technical problem with the plane on an earlier flight, which had been fixed, according to Sky News. It got repaired in Denpasar in Bali, and then it was flown to Jakarta, he said. Engineers in Jakarta received notes and did another repair before it took off on Monday. That's the normal procedure for any plane. Relatives of passengers comfort each other as they wait for news on a Lion airplane that crashed off Java Island at Depati Amir Airport in Panji, Penang, Indonesia. Meanwhile, dozens of people waited anxiously outside the Pangai Penang airport while officials brought out plastic chairs, and this is what was shown on Indonesian TV. Boeing Company released a statement offering its heartfelt sympathies to the passengers, families, and loved ones. The Chicago-based manufacturer said it was prepared to provide technical assistance to search efforts. The crash is Indonesia's worst airline disaster since Air Asia flight from Surabaya to Singapore plunged into the sea in December 2014, killing all 162 on board. Indonesian airlines were banned in 2007 from flying to Europe because of safety concerns, though several were allowed to resume services in the following decade. The ban was completely lifted in June this year. The U.S. lifted a decade-long ban in 2016. Lion Air is one of Indonesia's youngest and biggest airlines, flying to dozens of domestic and international destinations.
And coming up next, regional news and the weather.
The Prairie View A&M Naval ROTC program was established in March of 1968. So at that time, during the Vietnam War, it was compulsory to be involved in a military program. So Dr. A.I. Thomas, the president of the university, was interested in establishing a naval ROTC unit to complement the Army ROTC unit that was already on campus. Interestingly, at the same time, the Navy was interested in expanding the diversity of the Navy and Marine Corps, and particularly the officer corps. And so it was a natural fit, and Prairie View A&M in March of 1968 became the very first naval ROTC unit established at a historically black college or university here at Prairie View A&M.
Prairie View A&M University has always been somewhat of at the point on the frontiers of change. And the Naval ROTC program was again one of those programs that was implemented to keep us out on the point. They knew that they being Dr. Avenai Thomas and others knew that the Navy was a front runner and it was pretty much an elite operation. And by allowing students from Prairie View to become a part of that would make us world-class leaders. And so the program was designed to take country boys like myself and expose them to a different world, a different set of values and rules and regulations, and we adapted. It was a game changer for us.
Me personally, I can honestly say that I wouldn't be here without this program. I'm from a small country town in Arkansas with about 10,000 people. This gave me an opportunity to get outside of my comfort zone. Being 40 minutes from Houston, I never thought I would see myself here. I always knew that I would be on a college campus somewhere, but I never thought or even dreamed that I would be in the United States military, particularly the naval service. This has given me a platform to be able to reach back and be a provider amongst my family. I also got to travel and see tons of the world, which is something that a lot of people, they really enjoy.
My job as a professor of naval science is to develop young men and women mentally, morally, and physically as they get ready to commission into the United States Navy and the United States Navy. Here at Prairie View, what makes it special is our midshipmen. And so you think about a unit that now is 50 years old, that has produced over 400 young officers in the Navy and Marine Corps, and to date 3 flag officers, which is a remarkable accomplishment. So Vice Admiral David Brewer III, Rear Admiral Kelvin Dixon, and Rear Admiral O.C. Combs Jr. Tremendous accomplishment to have 3 flag officers from a unit that early.
So what makes this program unique is that we are the first HBCU to establish an ROTC. And with that, I feel that we have a lot of shoes to fill. With those 3 flag officers, I feel that there could be more. And with our diversity growing, I think that we can accomplish that.
It helped to mold officers and we used to say gentlemen, but gentle women and officers. It helped to mold us. It gave us, again, skills that we didn't really know about.
The product that Prairie View has been able to generate over the past few years since I've graduated and even before then has completely changed the dynamic of what we're producing for the fleet. Whenever you go somewhere now, your first ship, like myself, when I reported on board the USS Vandergrift, my weapons officer was a Prairie View graduate. So it's pretty nice to know that they're turning out products that are actually staying in to pursue their military career.
And I've met so many amazing people that want the same goal as me, and with that, I feel it just makes me want to be better as a person and hopefully bring that out of the Navy later in the future.
And I can't say what the next 50 years will hold when you think about modern warfare or what will be needed from a military service. But I do know that if we remain committed to ensuring that our midshipmen are able to think critically, to function as a team, to build individual resilience, to take the enormous amount of data that's available to them today and be able to sort through to get to what matters, to be able to problem solve in a complex and ambiguous world, that our Navy and Marine Corps is going to be in great shape over the next 50 years and beyond.
Go back. Okay, never mind. We are in luck today, guys. The cold front is gone, so expect a warm week. The high today will be 84 degrees and no chance of rain.
A wrong-way driver is dead after a crash with an 18-wheeler early Monday morning, shutting down the North Freeway at Spring-Stubner. Debris is scattered all over the northbound lanes. Diesel fuel is also on the freeway. The Harris County Sheriff's Office says the driver of a Ford Mustang was headed southbound in the northbound lanes when he slammed into the 18-wheeler. The Ford Mustang driver was killed instantly. Authorities say they first received calls about the wrong-way driver around 2:43 a.m., about 90 seconds before the collision happened. Officials are still investigating where exactly on the freeway the man began driving the wrong way. Police said that some of the first calls they received were around the location of I-45 and FM 2920. The driver of the big rig was going 45 miles per hour, according to Sergeant Deshauna Cheek McNeil with Harris County Sheriff's Office. She says the site of the crash is at a slight slope. When the 18-wheeler's driver got to the top of it, he saw the Mustang's headlights and tried to avoid it, but the Mustang continued in his direction, and they crashed in the HOV lane. The driver of the 18-wheeler was not injured. Deputies are investigating whether alcohol was a factor.
Houston authorities have joined the search for a 2-year-old girl who went missing in College Station. Hosanna Anderson disappeared at the Gabbard Park on Sunday morning, police said. The child's mother told the police that she walked away to get a bottle, and when she turned back around, the child was gone. Fishermen who found the mother panicking called the police and attempted to help the mother find Hosanna. Police described Hosanna as 3 feet tall and 28 pounds. She was last seen wearing an olive green jacket, a black shirt that says Girl Squad on it, cream-colored pants, pink socks, and dark shoes, and a purple beanie hat. According to police, officials said that there were no other people at the park during the time of Hosanna's disappearance. The Texas game Warden used boats to search the pond of the park. Anyone with information on Herzana's whereabouts is asked to call the police at 979-764-3600.
A 20-year-old that was arrested in connection to a South Texas shooting left 4 dead and 1 wounded has been released on bail. Ronnie Rodriguez Jr. was arrested for suspicion of deadly conduct, discharging a firearm after shooting a 1-year-old's birthday party. The shooting left 4 relatives dead on Saturday at 5 p.m. According to the Texas Department of Public Safety, the Texas Rangers are under the investigation, and San Patricio County Sheriff's Office is assisting.
A 16-year-old who has been on life support after being shot in the head has died. Matthew Francis was shot Tuesday night at a Garden Oak Apartments on Royal Palm Street in Southeast Houston. Matthew was found on the ground in the breezeway. Investigators say that there was a fight at the back of the complex, and it appears that the teen may have been chased by a shooter or shooters as they fired. A trail of shells casting led police to the middle of the complex. A woman tried to help Matthew. She put a blanket on him, held his hand, and prayed. I told him it was going to be all right, that he was going to make it, and God had a special place on earth for him. But I think I lied, the woman said. Matthew was taken to the hospital where he has been since the shooting. His father says Matthew died around 9 p.m. Thursday. Father says the teen does not live in the apartment complex. He was just visiting a friend. There are no witnesses to the shooting other than the people who heard the gunshots.
In Prairie View news, it's spooky season. Tomorrow, October 30th, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. for only $2, come and join the communications department as we present the legendary Haunted in Hilliard. This will be a night full of screams, scares, and terror. Let's get spooky. Thank you for watching the Panther News Network, and we'll see you guys Wednesday.